In today's video, we have some unfortunate news as one of the early PlayStation 4 exclusives, a game that was announced alongside the announcement of the PlayStation 4, is officially shutting down and it is going to be delisted from the PlayStation Store. We'll talk all about that. Also, a Borderlands 3 fan theory is suggesting that the game could be released sometime in October. I'll go over that theory and the specific date as well. Of course, more official information about Borderlands 3 will be dropping very soon on April 3rd, but we'll take a look at the fan theory. We're getting closer and closer to E3, and with Sony and EA not being a part of the big event, one studio that will have all eyes on them is Bethesda. And of course, when we talk about Bethesda now, everybody's going to be talking about The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield. And I've been saying for a while I would not expect those games to be a part of E3 2019, and Todd Howard has confirmed just that. Super Meat Boy Forever is scheduled to release sometime in April, and it's planned to have ridiculously hard post-launch DLC and user-created levels. And lastly, we've got some news on the next Yakuza title, of course being introduced as a brand new main character. So that is bringing with it some skepticism. However, I'm sure that the game will turn out to be rather good. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this video. First up, Driveclub is officially shutting down, and along with that, it is going to be delisted from the PlayStation Store. There was an official post put out that Driveclub, including VR, bikes, and DLC, will be delisted from the PlayStation Store on August 31st, 2019, so you will no longer be able to buy the game then, and starting March 31st, 2020, you will no longer be able to play the game online. Online servers for Driveclub, Driveclub VR, and Driveclub bikes will shut down on March 31st, 2020. All online features, including online multiplayer modes, will cease on that date. You will still be able to play and enjoy these games in single-player offline modes. However, the games have significant amounts of online gameplay. So for March 31st, 2020, functionality will be affected in the following ways. You will not be able to use your Season Pass online, represent your club online in multiplayer events or tours, play online multiplayer and compete in challenges, create your own events, compete in leaderboards, or share stats and player progress. You will still be able to use your Season Pass on all single-player and offline modes, continue to play all the games, Driveclub, Driveclub VR, and Driveclub bikes, and DLC single-player functionality in offline modes, earn trophies in single-player and offline modes. So this is following the wave of a lot of recent PlayStation 4 titles being shut down. Gravity Rush 2, Drawn to Death. Obviously, those games weren't sustaining any sort of significant business, but for those that already bought the game, it's a little bit of a bummer, but it is to be expected. It's just unfortunate. Driveclub was one of those games that was an early announcement on the PlayStation 4 that I was rather excited for, but at the same time, I was a little concerned because the PlayStation already had its huge racing game IP in Gran Turismo. However, Gran Turismo releases are so inconsistent, and I've often talked about it. Gran Turismo is one of those franchises that a decade ago, yeah, it was the top racing game IP in the world. Now, in 2019, it has easily been outpaced by Forza and Forza Horizon. You cannot even make an argument otherwise. Forza is more consistent and the games are better. It's just the better IP. I wanted to give Driveclub a chance to develop into something more compelling. However, at this point, it will be going to the wayside, and that includes Driveclub, Driveclub VR, and Driveclub bikes. If you do want to own the game, again, you need to pick it up before August 31st. We'll give you guys a heads up before August 31st hits, but after August 31st, you will no longer be able to get the game on the PlayStation Store. Usually when that happens, it also drives up the price of the physical release, so that is something to bear in mind. But again, come March 31st, 2020, the game will cease to exist in terms of its online component, so that's a little bit of a bummer. We'll let you guys know if we hear anything more, if they decide to go back on this. With Gravity Rush 2, there was an online revolt, and they did end up pushing that game's shutdown back a little bit, but it still ended up being shut down. So with Driveclub, even if there is this revolt, I think the end goal for Sony is to eventually shut this game down, which is a bit of a bummer. Alright, moving on to some more positive news. Everybody and their mother is excited for Borderlands 3, and I am expecting that the game will be out before the end of 2019. Gearbox said that 2019 is the year of Borderlands, and yeah, we're getting a Borderlands 1 remaster on the PlayStation 4, but that does not signify the year of Borderlands. The year of Borderlands is signified by the release of Borderlands 3, and a fan theory is suggesting an October launch date due to hidden clues in the trailer. According to Zodel Panda over on Reddit, this theory comes after exploiting two digits which can be seen on the sides of buildings in the exact same white font 01 and 10. This can be witnessed if you pause the trailer at 140 on 152 specifically in the YouTube video. And in the first scene, you can clearly observe a giant skyscraper with the number 01 written across it in a large lettering at the very top. In the second scene, another building which is in a totally different location to the first has the number 10 in, again, the same exact font. This is leading to a lot of people thinking that the game will be released on October 1st, being the 10th month of the year, and then the first day being the 01 that is listed as well. And what's very interesting is that October 1st also falls on a Tuesday, Tuesday being the days where a lot of games are released. Games are either released on a Tuesday or Friday. Usually it used to be exclusively Tuesday, but now we see more Friday game releases as well. This is a theory that I'm buying into. We'll definitely know more on April 3rd as we're hearing about the game's release date. We're gonna hear about a lot more of the content in the game, the gameplay, probably some sort of special edition, all that good stuff and information will be dropping on April 3rd, so we'll let you guys know of official information then. But at this point, all we have to work on is this fan theory, and I think it's pretty plausible. October 1st being the date that the game comes out, I think it will come out sometime in the fall. And do keep in mind, I do believe the original Borderlands released in October of 2009, so to release Borderlands 3 10 years after the original game, hey, that's a cool touch to it as well. That's just speculation on my part as to them doing that, but nonetheless wanted to mention that as well. Next up, we are getting closer and closer to E3. However, some of the luster has been taken out of E3 with the absence of Sony, and yes, even the absence of EA. That does make E3 lose a little bit. However, it's still going to be a massive event, and one publisher that'll have a big presence at E3 is, of course, Bethesda. They've been a part of E3 for the last few years, and they've made a big impact. However, with the 25th anniversary celebration panel at PAX East yesterday, Todd Howard did speak, and he said this, quote, "Before everyone asks, please be patient. It's gonna be a long time. It's not something we're gonna be talking about at E3, either of those games this year. And so patience, please. But you know, given the anniversary, we did want to give everybody a taste." I've been speculating this for quite a while, but if you remember, I believe E3 of 2017, that press conference was devoid of any open world game talk from Bethesda. Instead, it was revolved entirely and mostly around Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. That was the major game they tried to drive home. There were other announcements like the Evil Within 2, and I believe Dishonored: Death of the Outsider was a part of that as well, but completely devoid of Bethesda open world games. That might be jarring to some, but that's usually how it goes. One year they'll have the open world games there, the next year they won't, and I think that's a good formula to keep in place because these games are so far away. I honestly think it was a bad idea to even announce these games last year because they are so far away. Starfield is a next generation game. The Elder Scrolls 6 is a next generation game. Why are we announcing them at E3 of 2018 when they're still, 2 to 3 years away? And that is best case scenario. At best, The Elder Scrolls 6 will be a 2021 game, and more likely than not, it'll be a 2022 title. So why release a teaser trailer that early? That's even uncharacteristic of Bethesda. We saw what they did with Fallout 4, how they announced that game at E3 and then it was ready to release that fall, and that game had an incredible amount of hype and anticipation. Yes, I know both The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield just got teaser trailers, but I think it was the wrong way to go. I think they should have completely kept those games in mystery, let us speculate on it, and then when they were close to completion, you announced them there, because that just leads to a lot of people speculating over and over again, and that does get a little bit depressing after a while. But nonetheless, pretty much confirmed The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield will be skipping E3 of 2019, so that's a bit of a bummer, but kind of to be expected. Next up, Super Meat Boy Forever is scheduled for a launch sometime in April. We still don't have an exact release date. However, in an interview at PAX East 2019, Super Meat Boy Forever designer Tommy Raffine spoke to DualShockers, and he said this about Super Meat Boy Forever's DLC, quote, "We have some plans for DLC, some of it substantial," and he did also add that those levels are gonna be ridiculously hard. Now, post-launch DLC is pretty cool. However, do note that Super Meat Boy Forever is also going to have a feature for user-created levels, so this game looks to have an endless amount of longevity already, and depending on the price Super Meat Boy Forever is released at, I think this is a game that if you want a challenging platformer, it's a game that you pick up on day one. I said that $14.99 to $19.99 would be perfect, but we'll see how it turns out. Again, it's scheduled for a release on PlayStation 4 in April. That was the release window they originally gave us. Hopefully that release window does stick, but at this point we still don't have an official release date, so I'm getting a little bit worried, but let's hope for the best. And lastly, today during the opening keynote of Sega Festival in Tokyo, Yakuza Executive Director Toshiro Nagoshi talked a bit about the upcoming new Yakuza title, and he said that the game will bring a major change to the series. While it's still going to be an action-adventure game, it's also going to be of a surprise to fans. The main character, of course, is not Kazuma Kiryu. It is Ichiban Kasuga, and they have very different personalities. You can tell that right away from their mannerisms, and based on some of the promotional images that have been released, yeah, Kasuga is a much different character than Kiryu, but that's kind of interesting. I think it's time for a little bit of a change of pace. And due to that, their ways of acting and philosophies are also very different, and that means how you tackle the game and how they would tackle each individual scenario is going to differ, and I think that's really interesting. Of course, right now, we are looking forward to the release of Judgment over here in the West. That'll be coming June 25th, June 21st if you buy the game digitally. But after that, the PlayStation 4 will be getting a brand new Yakuza game. We still don't know much, but it's pretty exciting information nonetheless. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, the PlayStation 4 exclusive in Driveclub, Driveclub VR, and Driveclub Bikes will be shutting down. That is unfortunate news, but you still have until August 31st to buy the game from the PlayStation Store, and then you'll have until March 31st to take advantage of all the online components. After that, the game will be solely a single-player title. Fan theory for Borderlands 3 is suggesting an October 1st launch date. Could that be real? We'll find out on April 3rd as more official information will drop then. The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield will be skipping out on E3 2019. Kind of a bummer, but kind of to be expected as well. Super Meat Boy Forever is planning to have ridiculously hard post-launch DLC, and the new Yakuza game will differentiate from the existing Yakuza experiences. I think that's pretty good. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.